Beautiful. Oh, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Um, my name's Kara, and I'm from Soulshine Alchemy. Some of you know me personally, some of you know me through social media, some of you know me through avenues like this. So I'm really glad that you've all taken the chance to hop on this call tonight and this webinar that, as I said, is dedicated to freedom, dedicated to sovereignty, feeling sovereign and free within ourselves. Of course, it's no surprise that we're living in really unprecedented times right now. So I feel that over the past 8 months, I've really been diving in more and more to my own personal journey and unraveling all the aspects within myself that are keeping me from feeling free, really learning what it means to be sovereign. And what I find usually is that the things that I'm working on a personal level are always the same. I guess we'll call them things, or what I'm presented with the people that I work with as well. So I do a lot of work with one-on-one clients, and I feel that, and I've found that a lot of us are all really experiencing the same thing right now. We're being inundated with a crazy amount of information every single day. And for me personally, I know it can be challenging to decipher, translate, discern, find my truth, and find the way into that freedom place where it feels like it's safe to just be me, which means really letting go of all of the beliefs that aren't me so I can stand into what my truth is and my sovereignty. So this evening, I really want to share some of those things with you, and invite you into freedom consciousness as well. So it's beautiful to gather in groups like this. And what I find is that it creates such a beautiful healing vortex. It's a quantum healing field, if you will. And when all of us gather and share our energy in this space, it almost intensifies the opportunity. And the opportunity tonight is to shift our consciousness or our awareness, our life experience, from one of limitation to one of freedom, to one of sovereignty. And my intention and prayer for all of you this evening is just for you to remember who you truly are and why you chose to be here at this pivotal time in our history, why you're here right now as we're all going through what I perceive as a collective dark night of the soul. And perhaps some of you have experienced this on a personal level, and a dark night of the soul really means that we come to a place in our life where we begin to question basically everything we've ever been taught, shown, or led to believe. And right now this is happening on such a collective level, where globally we're all sort of experiencing this, and not only within ourselves, but we're also seeing all of these systems, institutions, ways that we've been living for hundreds of years are beginning to crumble, and the people are rising. And I mean, never in my life have I ever seen such a collective uprising and people really beginning to stand into what they believe in. I've never seen such a mass collapse of systems, from education to health to government to politics to the health system. All of these systems are being questioned, they're crumbling, and we're realizing what serves us from these systems and what doesn't serve us. So as we are in this collective dark night of the soul, we have this opportunity to shine light on all of these places that are heavy, that don't suit us, that don't resonate with us, that are dark, we have this beautiful opportunity to shine light onto these places and come back into this place where we can feel more like ourselves, where we can feel like we're living a life that's more in resonance for who we are. So my invitation for you tonight is just to really keep your heart open, and even though it feels scary at times to shift some of these things that are heavy and are holding us back, I can promise you from all of the different times I've gone through my own various dark nights of the soul, that on the other side is always more expansion and more light and more opportunity to become more of who you truly are, which is sovereign, which is free, and which is divinity in form. So before we get going too far into the evening, I always love to do a little collective meditation, grounding in, connecting our hearts with one another. So if everybody would please join me in closing your eyes and just taking a nice deep breath into the belly. Taking a nice inhale through the nose all the way down to the belly. And then exhale with a sigh. Breathing deeply, eyes closed. And just begin to bring your awareness to where you are seated. Maybe visualizing some beautiful roots extending down from the sit bones into the earth, anchoring you, connecting you. Begin to feel this beautiful unity and oneness between you and our beautiful planet. Our earth always nourishes us, supports us, embraces us. Feeling connected and rooted, bringing your awareness now to your heart, maybe placing your hand on your heart and just breathe into this space. Feel your heart softly open. Visualize a beautiful golden light within your heart space and just feel it begin to shimmer and shine out just a little bit further. Just breathing into the heart space. Visualize this beautiful golden light just emitting from your heart and weaving in beautifully through all the 22 people here that are on this call this evening. Imagine the golden light is just connecting all of us. Breathing into that space. Feeling connected and rooted to the earth, feeling connected and rooted to your heart, and feeling connected to one another. And from this space, I would like to just call in a little prayer and invocation to set the container and just let my words be your words. By the power of my I Am Presence, I call forth the crystalline pillars of light to anchor and surround this sacred space as a platinum light sanctuary through and around my physical and my auric body. We call in our ascension guides to encircle and protect us, to hold us in a quantum healing field for the highest alignment of all. North, south, east, west, earth, sky, and heart, anchoring the four corners to be sealed in the light and unity of oneness. Feeling our connection to the earth, our connection to our heart and our connection to the divine. Inviting our higher self in to anchor our divine sovereignty within all planes of our existence. Stating all that is not love must leave now and return back to the light. The sacred space is now open and dedicated to our own healing, the healing of the planet, and the liberation of all. And so it is. Taking a deep breath in, inhaling fully into the belly. And then exhale, release. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully you're all feeling more connected, more open. We'll begin. So before we dive into 3 keys of freedom consciousness that I sort of have found to be my 3 keys, I wanted to speak a little bit about some astrological themes that are happening right now. And it's funny, up until about 6 months ago, I really followed astrology and I was really tapped into what was happening in the cosmos, because truly what I found in my past experience is what is happening above is happening below. We're the microcosm of the macrocosm. And I just haven't really been paying much attention lately. I guess I've just been in my own little world. But yesterday something came to my attention and I just needed to share it because I felt that the timing of this webinar, the theme of this webinar is just so synchronistically set up that I just, I guess I'm just feeling thankful and also laughing at how really you just can't make this shit up. So today is September the 9th. It's the 9th month of the 9th and the 9th day. Mars has turned retrograde today, or begun its reverse orbit. So what this means essentially is that we have these major themes happening right now. And we, as a collective, if we tune into the planetary energy or the themes that are happening with Mars in retrograde, we're being initiated into the right use of our will, our personal power, our courage to take action. We're being shown where we're out of balance within our lives and being asked to activate a deeper sense of embodiment of our personal power. We're being offered a chance to shed all the old aspects of our identity and step into this new level of authentic truth. Mars is linked to masculinity, and right now, as we're watching all of these systems crumble, they're all very linked to the wounded masculine or patriarchy. So I find it very beautiful that right now we're on the 9th month, the 9th day. 9s signify completion, the end of a cycle. And what this Mars retrograde is actually asking us is to look back on what we've sort of experienced thus far in 2020, and being able to discern the things that have served us, that haven't served us, where we've lost our power, where we've gained our power, where we have connected or identified with the wounded masculine within and without. The wounded masculine is the place of scarcity, of fear, of competition, of greed. It's the place where we don't feel safe. So as we reflect on our own inner masculine, Mars is giving us this beautiful opportunity to look at this like global masculine patriarchy and see where we can reclaim parts of ourselves that we've lost along the way, and places that have kept us in that wounded state, the wounded masculine state. And as we shine a light on that wounded masculinity, we get this chance to kind of bring back our sovereignty, autonomy, and the courageous or the bravery back into our lives. We step into the archetype of the sacred warrior or the peaceful warrior, where we get to choose our battles, which when I think of choosing our battles, it means we get to choose our thoughts and what belief system we want to buy into. Deciding that we're no longer going to give our power away to these false systems or false idols, and really being given the opportunity to come into our spiritual maturity, which is really a place of self-mastery and a place where we get to decide that we are the creator of our reality. So all I have to say is this is super synchronistic. I'm really happy that this is all lined up. And I think it's such a beautiful, beautiful opportunity for all of us to sort of call upon that, those themes, that energy of this Mars retrograde. It's staying with us now until mid-November. So once we connect to that, like the bigger cosmos, bring it into our world, it's kind of like an ally. We have a little extra nudge to kind of come into that place of sovereignty and wholeness within us. Sorry, I'm looking at the comments a little bit. Thank you, Jody. Okay, so let's just dive in. First of all, this webinar I've titled, moving from limitation to freedom consciousness. And when we think of limitation, when we feel limited, it usually means we feel stuck or that we can't achieve something that we want to. We're limited in our action. It relates to feeling out of alignment, feeling not be able to move forward in the direction that we prefer. Feeling limited might feel like something is missing. When we think of freedom consciousness, to me, freedom means being truly authentically myself, no matter what. It means that there isn't anything standing in our way, ourselves, others, society, our beliefs. And freedom consciousness is that true connection to our source, our divinity. We all hold the divinity within us. So it's about us connecting to our own inner divine being, as well as the divine and the source that's all around us. When we feel free, we really are, in essence, in our sovereignty. And when we're in our sovereignty, it means that we really are our own self-governing power, that we know the answers ourselves, that everything that we need can be I'm losing the word.
Sourced.
Thank you. Jaden's little voice comes in. Self-sourced, thank you. So these are the two states of consciousness. These are two states of consciousness or awareness. And you might find that you fluctuate between both. I know I certainly do. You might find that you spend more time in one than the other. I feel a lot of us right now as a collective are spending or can get caught a lot in the limiting consciousness or awareness. And I think that it's really fair to say that if we all had the choice and if we could all choose every day what state of consciousness or awareness that we wanted to operate from, that we wanted to anchor into, I'm pretty sure we would all choose freedom consciousness. So what I want to offer you tonight is 3 key elements that have assisted me at various times in my lives at various times in my life that help me feel more free. And a lot of these 3 aspects are things that lately I've been tuning into a lot. I feel there's been a lot going on lately collectively and within. And so grounding into these 3 key elements has really been a beautiful way that I have been able to access more of the freedom consciousness and reclaim my sovereignty. So number 1 is unwinding our nervous system and fortifying our light body. So you have a body. You actually have 4 bodies. You have your physical body, you have your emotional body, you have your mental body, and your spiritual body. These 4 bodies are all wrapped within your light body. So essentially you have 5 bodies. Your light body is also called your aura, your auric field, your energy field. It sort of encompasses around you. When we have an overstimulated nervous system, we are living in stress. We live in a place of fight or flight. which I'm sure we all are aware of. It's that place where our adrenals are just ready to fire, where it's like, are we gonna run or are we gonna fight for our safety? So when we are in this fight or flight, then we can feel really trapped by this fear and limited to where we feel safe in the world. Our 4 bodies, our 5 bodies, communicate with each other continuously. Our physical connects to our mental, connects to our emotional, our spiritual, and our light body is basically what holds it all together. So if we're experiencing mental and emotional stress, then we see signs of that in our physical body. We also see signs of that in our auric body. We begin to feel detached from our truth. We can actually manifest disease within our body because of this overstimulated nervous system. So unwinding the nervous system equals coming back to our center. And for me personally, the best ways that I have found that I can unravel my nervous system, the first one is always the breath. So always coming back to the breath. Anytime I feel like my mind is starting to run the show, like I'm feeling in that fight or flight, like I'm overstimulated, coming back to the breath, placing my hands on my heart or my belly, taking 3 deep breaths in is always a beautiful way to kind of come back to that centering. Another beautiful way to unravel this nervous system is to dedicate 10 minutes of your day to meditation practice. Again, breath will come into the meditation practice where you can really close your eyes, center in, ground in. Even the little grounding meditation that we did to start, sinking into that once a day, twice a day, has really been a lifesaver for me because it really allows all the mental chatter to silence, and it reminds me of who I really am. It connects me to my truth, to my heart, to my breath. Nature is another beautiful way, as is movement. So any kind of movement, slow movement, whether that's Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, even just like free-flowing dance movement in your home, listening to really nice music, just really connecting to your body, connecting to the breath, connecting the breath and the body together. And as we do this, we're really supporting these 4 bodies. And as we support our 4 bodies, we're fortifying our light body. And when our light body is intact, when our auric field is intact, then we have this beautiful ability to create an energetic boundary, which means that when we are walking through life, we have this beautiful way that we can discern what's in resonance or not in resonance with us, because we're so certain within our own container that we can walk into a situation, we can hear something on the news, we can be told something by somebody, we can have an interaction with a family member and instantly know if it's in resonance with us or not, which means it speaks to our truth or it doesn't speak to our truth. It really helps us make decisions that aren't based in fear, or making decisions that are based on false truths, if that makes sense. So that's unwinding your nervous system. Key point number 1. Key point number 2 is deconstructing beliefs. So this is something that's really big in our household all the time, but particularly right now. We spend a lot of time looking at our beliefs and our thoughts. And the truth is that our reality is created by our thoughts. Our thoughts are governed by our beliefs. The beliefs are something that we carry with us that have been instilled upon us, that we've picked up along the way from our parents, from our education, potentially from a church, government, friends, our image makers, essentially, people who have sort of helped shape and form us as we have grown. The thoughts that are governing your life are creating a direct manifestation of what you see in your world. There's really just 2 bases of thought, really, when it comes down to it, that create all of the other belief systems, or or vice versa. So we have fear-based thoughts and we have loving-based thoughts. So each decision we make is really rooted in either fear or love. Of course, again, we oscillate between these two, and we can bounce back and forth within a minute, within an hour, all throughout the day. And the beautiful invitation here is that as we look at what our beliefs and our thoughts are, we start to become the observer. We become the witness. We get to look at kind of where we're running from. We can start to question the mind and commit to being that observer and that witness. And because we're all on this human journey right now, our job is actually to integrate polarity. And polarity, we can look at it as fear and love. So as a human, having a human experience, we get the chance every day to examine these thoughts or beliefs that are rooted in fear and to shine that light on them and to invite them back into love, or to invite ourselves back into love. Integrating polarity also means that we just accept these parts of ourselves, these parts that that might be holding us back in limitation, and nurture them and allow them to transmute and transform and bring us back into that neutral place, if not back into the place of love. So when we look at thoughts and beliefs, there's sort of 4 keys that I feel are essential in that journey. And the first one is just acknowledgement. I know for myself, I can find a lot of times I can be spinning out of control and I can be feeling something or believing something, but rather than actually stop and look at it, I'm pushing it away or trying to busy myself so that I don't have to look at it. When we stop and acknowledge it, then it instantly puts us back into that witnessing observation place where we can just check in and be like, okay, what is it that I'm believing right now? Okay, I'm believing that. I just want to acknowledge it. When we have beliefs and we have thoughts that come up, there's always an emotion that comes with it. And so the second part that I find is very important and beautiful is to surrender and feel the emotion, not pushing the emotion away, which is another coping mechanism that a lot of us have adapted along the way. It's actually being able to really sink in and just feel it. Let yourself feel it, even letting that whole emotion just take over your body. And just in that moment when you're feeling that intense emotion, deciding to be there for yourself, just holding yourself, again, being that witness, coming at it from a neutral place where you can really just hold yourself. Compassion is the third part of this. So as you're holding yourself, having compassion for yourself. And what I find is really beautiful in these moments, if I'm feeling like overwhelmed with emotion, thoughts, beliefs, is reminding myself, what are the words that I want to hear right now from somebody else, from the person that I might be upset with, or the situation I might be upset with, and being able to offer those words to myself, which 9 times out of 10 is, I'm going to love you no matter what. I'm here for you always. I'm not going to let you down. I'm here to support you. So it's thinking about the words that we wish to hear from others and bringing them in and having that compassion for ourselves. And then finally, I guess I've already kind of touched on that, is like really just observing the thought and questioning the thought. And my partner Jaden and I he spends a lot of time with the work of Byron Katie. And if you're familiar with Byron Katie's work, or if you're not, I would really highly recommend checking it out. We could spend hours talking about that today, but really what it is, it's just a whole system where we really question our thoughts and our beliefs and asking, if a belief comes up, is it true? And it goes through a whole process. So it's another beautiful way that we can kind of sink into examining, observing, coming back to neutrality, integrating this darkness back into light, and really giving ourselves that opportunity to come into more growth and expansion. As we let go of these things that are heavy and weighing us down and keeping us in limitation, we get this beautiful a space that opens up that we get to fill with whatever we want to fill. New beliefs, new emotions, or loving emotions, new thoughts. And definitely, as we do this, our life begins to reflect back to us what we are feeling inside. Um, and real quickly, I'm going to share a little story about my daughter. And I mean, she might kill me for this, but um, she's been really feeling unsupported lately. And it goes back deeper in her world. But really, what it is this belief that people aren't there for her. She starts to see this reflecting in every aspect of her life, in her work, in her friendships, in her family. And it's been really beautiful process to kind of work through this with her and guide her back to that place of neutrality, to see like really it's just a belief that you feel that this is what's happening to you. And because you believe it so strongly, you are almost searching for it in every aspect of your life. So if this speaks to you and you feel like you're not supported, or you feel like you're not loved, then really you can scan the entire universe, and you'll just, every situation that pops up, you'll find confirmation of that belief, until you can come back to that place of neutrality and shift that belief into something that serves you more and ushers you more into freedom. So that's key number 2. And the last key is identifying our power leaks. So we all have personal power. It all sits in our third chakra, our solar plexus. And each time we look outside of ourselves for happiness or for validation or for confirmation, we leak our power. When we need our outside life to be a certain way before we can feel happiness within or freedom within, we're creating codependency. This happens in our relationships. This happens with our partners, our kids, our parents, our siblings, our friends. It happens with work. It can even happen with like your living situation, where you live. It can happen with the weather. It can happen with anything external. So when we spend a lot of time looking outside of ourselves, saying, oh, if only this would change, I could be happy. If this person would act a certain way, then I could come back to my happiness. It also works if you're blaming other people for how you feel, that victim mentality where, life has been out to get me, or this person has done this to me and I have lost my power. So any of these situations where we're leaking our power externally, we are forgetting who we are, and we're also giving away our sovereignty. When we take ownership for how we're feeling, and when we pull that power back and realize that we are the people who are creating our reality, it's up to us, then all of a sudden it's like those power cords come back, and we start to feel empowered and start to realize like, okay, as I'm pulling back my power, I'm realizing that I'm creating my reality with my fears, with my thoughts, with my beliefs. I'm pulling them back. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not expecting anybody to act any different for me to be happy. I'm going to take charge of my life. I'm going to reclaim my sovereignty. And as we reclaim our sovereignty, we claim our personal freedom, and we become the creators of our reality. We realize that happiness comes from the inside. It doesn't come from the outside. So we can spend our lives micromanaging what's happening around us to maintain some sort of happiness or security. But until we really learn how to self-source that happiness, to really find that peace within, the freedom within, we're never going to be satisfied with what's happening outside. So it all happens on the inside. It's an inside job. And the time for seeking outside of ourselves for validation is over. That's a timeline that existed before, but it's done. It was that timeline where we had a guru, where people knew more than, like, knew what was best for us. Whether that was our teachers, our parents, our politicians. And that time has shifted. And we're now realizing that we are the people, we are the one, we are the guru. The answers that we seek are within us. So as we bring this awareness to these concepts, and if we look at these relationships where we might have a codependent energy happening, there's a gift in that, because we can see, oh, I can let that person off the hook. I can let that situation off the hook. I'm the one who can make me happy. And when we really start making ourselves happy, you'll find that all of the relationships in your life start to shift, because you've let people off the hook. You're not expecting anything from them. You're not wishing that they would be different in order for you to find your happiness. It's just such a powerful time to take our power back. And it's just a beautiful gift when we can remember who we really are and what our responsibility is. And that sovereignty lies within, and that we get the choice. We can choose each and every day, each and every thought, each and every moment, which way we want to go. Do we want to leak our power out? Do we want to feel limited? Do we want to believe thoughts that don't serve us? Or are we ready to take ownership and shift that and create a life and a world and a reality that reflects love and freedom and unity, and find that happiness, you know? So those are the 3 keys. Just to really quickly recap: unwinding your nervous system. So finding that time to really like tune into yourself, to nature, to your breath. Number 2, deconstructing your thoughts and your beliefs. So giving yourself the opportunity to look at what you're believing, who you're believing, what you're aligning to. Remembering that you can choose to be the witness, to be the observer. Remembering that part of being human means that we're here to integrate polarity. We're here to shine light on darkness. We're here to integrate the dark and the light in together and accept all parts of ourselves, which equals freedom. And then number 3 is identifying where you are leaking your power and choosing to pull it back in and reel it back in, to examine your relationships, to examine the external circumstances that you wish were different, for you to feel better about yourself. So really, that's all I have. That is it in a nutshell of different ways that you can shift from limitation to freedom. And I would love if anybody has any comments or questions, if anybody has anything that they want to share through the chat, or ask for clarification. I'm here for you. And I'm feeling really thankful that you all said yes and shared your space and time with me tonight. It feels really good to gather with all of you and really connect our hearts and, you know, send our prayer for freedom for all of us. Jody, I've also learned that through limitation we can find expansion. Absolutely. I agree 100%. And that's the integration of polarity. I feel that as we accept our limitations, and all of a sudden we have this beautiful chance for expansion. Shifting from 3D to 5D. Yes, absolutely. There's those 3 levels of consciousness, and 3D is really the victim mentality, or 3D is life is happening to me. And then when we shift into 4th and 5th dimensional awareness and thinking, that is life is happening through me, or life is happening for me. It's all about becoming the observer, 100%. Absolutely. I agree fully. So lovely. Thank you for the sacred reminders. My pleasure. My pleasure, everyone. Thank you. So I just want to say thanks for showing up to yourself with this open mind and heart. The webinar is complete, but if you are curious and would like to go deeper into putting this material into more action in your life, and if you're really ready to create some solid change, I'd love to share with you. I'm about to launch a 21-day intensive program, and I thought I would just take a few minutes to share that with you for whoever would like to listen and learn about it. If you would, then just stay on the call, and if you feel like your time on Zoom is complete for the evening, then that's totally great. And I just send you off with love from my heart to yours. And for those of you who wish to stay and just hear a little bit about this 21-day intensive on reclaiming your sovereignty, I would love to just share a little bit with you about that. So beginning October 1st, I am starting a journey to support your light body and, well, all of your bodies actually. We'll be working deeply with the ascension medicine that I've created. Some of you might know that I have a line of ascension medicine. It's vibrational, it's homeopathic in nature, and it's been created to assist with awakening and your journey through life. And so starting October 1st, I have a 21-day intensive where you will be offered support, you'll be offered encouragement, a safe container, practical tools on how to put all of these concepts into action. I really feel that diving into sovereignty at this time is so essential for all of us to really reclaim who we truly are and be reminded that we are really powerful creators and divine in nature and free unto ourselves. So during the 21 days, we'll be working in a group setting much like this, but we'll be diving deeper into these concepts that we've gone over this evening. And I mean, a lot of us have done the work, we've read books, we've got the knowledge, but where we can get stuck is actually putting the knowledge into action. So this program is really designed to help anchor this knowledge in and take action. And my offering is accountability, it's support, it's creating the community, and creating this invitation for you to truly embody your sovereignty. So over the 21 days, we'll be working with the vibrational medicine called sovereignty that's connected to the solar plexus chakra. And with that medicine, you receive the self-initiation package, which comes with a sacred altar kit. It comes with a daily meditation that's 10 minutes in length. And it comes with a couple of other goodies in the bag. And you also receive 4 live calls. So just like tonight, we would meet on Zoom 4 consecutive weeks, starting October 1st, which is a Thursday. And each call will be about an hour in length, and we'll dive into deeper concepts of this. And then also bring in the tools and action steps on how to actually bring the concepts into embodiment within our lives. There'll be a little bit of homework, some reflection, lots of guidance. I'm going to set up a private Facebook group for the container to all connect with one another. We'll do some group work. There'll be opportunity for support from me as well through email and Voxer, which is a messaging app. And it's really about accountability and really about deciding that you're ready to reclaim your sovereignty and that you're ready to take it to that next level of embodiment and action. So if this sounds interesting to anybody, I would love to talk to you about it. I'll put a link in the comments here that will lead you to my website where you can find more out about it. The program is $333 Canadian, and that includes the sacred medicine and the self-initiation package. It includes all the support, the calls, it's the whole gamut. And I'm really excited to dive into this, to do it with you, to offer any assistance and support I can along the way, and really help you reclaim your sovereignty and embody it and find that freedom consciousness and be able to spend more time in the freedom consciousness and the 4th and 5th dimensional awareness than in the limitation. So yeah, so if you have any questions or comments about it and you want to reach out, please send me an email. I'm excited to create the healing space for all of us to go deeper. And yeah, thank you all so much for taking the time and listening. And I'm just going to put this little link in here right now. And oh, hold on a seckie. And yeah, please reach out if you have any questions. I'd love to talk to anybody further about it. If you do feel absolutely called, and if your heart's saying, yes, please, I want to reclaim my sovereignty, and you follow the link and you get to the website, if you type in, there's a discount code, One Love, that I'd like to offer you, that gives you a discount. And sorry, what's this say? Are the 4 live calls one-on-one? No, the 4 calls will be a group setting like this, where we'll talk together, we'll go over the content, we'll go over the action steps, and then there'll be a time at the end where we will talk about, there'll be a Q&A or a time for questions and support where we can all support each other, and I'm available to answer any questions and support as well. Any of the one-on-one would be additional, but we could do one-on-ones through email or through, as I mentioned, the Voxer app, which is a voice messaging app that you can have on your phone where you can, it's like a walkie-talkie. It's really great. And you can just reach out. I'll be offering different worksheets and exercises along the way, different, really practical tools that help you just really step into this in your daily life. As I said, yeah, taking the knowledge into action. So I think that's all I've got for all of you beautiful people today. I just want to say thank you again so much. I really appreciate and honor all of you, and appreciate you taking the time to spend an hour with me this evening, almost an hour. And please reach out with any questions, concerns, any questions about the program. October 1st is coming up in a couple of weeks. So if you're interested, signing up sooner would be great, because I want to ship that medicine out to you so you can receive it in time. And yeah, I'm just here for all of you. And again, my wish is really for you all to reclaim your sovereignty and remember who you are, because you're all divine creators. And you were born free, even though some days it doesn't feel like it, but you really were. And it's the time now to remember that. It's the time to remember your sovereignty, to reclaim it, to sink into what's true and let go of the rest. So I'll leave you with that, and I hope you all have sweet dreams. And I hope to talk to you all very soon. Sending you lots of love.
Love you guys. Night.
Thanks. Good night, everybody.